Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you guys about the Honor V30 Pro. This is the latest and greatest from Honor and basically offers us some features that I was quite surprised to find out on an Honor device, because for years this is something that I've wanted to get on an Honor device and they finally delivered on it. This is TK and this is the Honor V30 Pro. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified whenever we have new videos on the channel. I want to say thank you very much to Treblab for sponsoring today's video and providing us the Xfits to be able to showcase in our video. The Xfits are actually very nice, budget friendly, under 50 bucks, true wireless headphones, very nice earpieces, up to 4 hours of playtime, as well as IPS6 rating with Bluetooth 5.0 out of the box. Again, all for under 50 bucks, available on Amazon. I'll give you guys more information in the description below. Thank you very much to Treblab. Now, first and foremost, when we first look at them, both the Honor V30 Pro and the Mate 30 Pro share a lot of similarities. They're both big devices. Now, the aesthetics are a little bit different. The Mate 30 Pro definitely does have a much more curved display on the side, where the Honor V30 Pro has more of a flat display. But we do have some nice curvature positioned here on the back of the actual unit. This is a glass back, which is very nice because we actually now have not only wireless charging, but reverse wireless charging. So those are two features that I've been looking for out of Honor devices for quite some time. And we've always lacked these features. Wireless charging has never been there. We've had glass backs for some time, but the V30 Pro definitely brings it in, and it brings it in with a fast charger. In the box, we have the 40-watt wire charger that is very similar to the Mate 30 Pro, as well as it also supports the 27-watt charger that Huawei has on the market right now for fast wireless charging. Very nice, very clean. And of course, we have just a simple Honor logo, and also we have the triple camera setup that's sitting here on the back. Now, the main features of the triple camera setup here is they have a 40 megapixel at f1.6 main shooter, a 12 megapixel wide angle lens at f2.2, and of course a 8 megapixel sensor that is going to be our telephoto lens at f2.4. The front-facing cameras are actually a little bit different because we actually house two different sensors here. We have a 32 megapixel sensor at f2.0, as well as an 8 megapixel telephoto lens available on the side. And what I mean by this is that when we actually switch over to the front-facing camera, we now have wide mode, the ability of fitting way more in our actual picture than we normally do, and of course supported by the AI processing that is basically well known now, and we're using the NPU with the Kirin 990. The display that we have here is a 6.57 inch display, Full HD Plus, so it's a TFT LCD panel, but we do have dark mode, as you probably already figured that out from the actual option there, and that's mostly because of Android 10.0. So even though this is an IPS panel, we actually have dark mode, which in the past Honor has always reserved this to AMOLED panels as opposed to having it on any IPS panel. So Magic UI 3.0 is running here with Android 10.0 out of the box. Now, keep in mind, of course, if you do purchase this one, currently in the Chinese market, or at least in the current form, there is no Google Play services, although that could change in the future depending on how things work out. But as you probably already noticed, I do have the Google Play Store installed, and installing this is very similar to loading it on the Mate 30 Pro. So if you're familiar with that process, it's a simple Google search. You should be able to get the Google Play services and get most of the things that you want running on this device, outside of just getting things directly from the app gallery that is essentially Huawei's version of, or Honor and Huawei's version of the App Store, and you can actually still find quite a bit of information as far as applications for your device straight into this actual app gallery. So the model number that we have here is the OXF-AN10. It is running Android 10.0 with Magic UI 3.0.1. This is a dual SIM device, as well as the fact that we have the Kirin 990 5G. Now, this is going to be basically the 5G variant of the 990. It's a 7nm chipset from Huawei, and it's actually very powerful as well as very power efficient, and now includes a 5G modem. Unfortunately, this 5G modem will only work in the Chinese market, and I have seen the 5G logo show up a couple of times on my phone, but for the most part, it's really running HSPA Plus in the US. I am currently running it on AT&T in the US, and it does actually get pretty good speeds. Last but not least, we have 256 gigs of internal storage. And as far as actual speed tests, I've run a few speed tests on this in the last couple of days that I've been using it. So I've had this device for about a week or so, and I've ran a different basically options here. So you notice at the maximum, I was able to get about 30 down and 43 up, depending on the area and where I am. But for the most part, all LTE or HSPA Plus connections. So no issue as far as connectivity. It does work in the US. You are going to be able to actually connect and use it if you're using it, let's say AT&T or T-Mobile. Depending on the area that you're in, T-Mobile may have less coverage, but overall AT&T is performing quite well. As I mentioned again, I do have the Google Play Store as well as some Google Play services installed. So I've installed a few applications. You notice I have the Google Files application, Speed Test, and I did have to install a few games from the app gallery as well as a couple of games directly from the Google Play Store. So we'll have Asphalt 8, Champions here, Marvel Champions, as well as the fact as PUBG, as that's one of my favorite games, as well as the fact that most of these will be supported as part of GPU Turbo, which is a built-in function that we have here to allow us to actually use hardware accelerated, software optimized features to get better frame rates out of video games. Now again, I did also install Prime Video, the assistant. That's just a download. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all of that. And for the most part, all of these things will work normally the way you had them before. You just have to basically just load them up. Let's go ahead and click on this video. One thing that you do want to keep in mind though is that this is still running a single fire and speaker. So even though the grill is a little bit bigger here on the top, we're still running a single fire speaker. So let's go ahead and start this video.
Channel. Today I want to talk to you guys about the
you notice right there, I'm able to muffle the sound quite a bit. And it does sound really good though. So the display, full screen, the notch actually is very, very minimal, sitting all the way on the bottom left. And you are able to basically crop in and crop out originals view here in YouTube. Very nice, very functional. Audio levels are actually pretty good. The speakerphone is strong, as well as the fact that you're able to actually use some nice features in the camera that honestly, not even the Mate 30 Pro has. And let's go ahead and dive into that camera. The camera application gives us access to all of the benefits of using both the front-facing cameras and the back-facing cameras. And as I said, cameras because we have those two sensors. Now on the front, or sorry, let's start off with the back. We have the main shooter, that's a 40 megapixel sensor, and of course we can jump into the ultra wide, all the way up to 5x optical zoom, and of course if we zoom in all the way digitally, up to 30% or 30 times. And what that enables us is to be able to take pictures of things that are quite far. So an example would be this airplane, or even trying to use the moon mode that's actually built in here. Very nice, very simple, and of course all supported with the AI option. So if you want scene detection and optimizations for your pictures to be basically, I would say, social media ready, the AI option is here, and you can disable it if you just tap on the image. But by default, it is actually turned on. We do have portrait mode, night mode, as well as AR lenses that are built in. And as you heard, they're actually very nice. You can augment some of those images directly with the AR lenses built in. We have beauty mode and effects mode under portrait, but under photos, what I wanted to share with you guys before we go into the settings, I'm actually able to use two lenses on the front. We have the wide angle lens that just fits in so much more. And of course, the single option here, which enables us to basically use just the standard image. And what I want to share with you guys, of course, is that with this, we'll go ahead and go back one more time. We can actually configure it to go with, depending on the resolution that we would like. In the back sensors, you're able to actually take pictures with the 40 megapixel ultra clarity sensor. So meaning an actual 40 megapixel image will be used here. My recommendation for you here is to use this with actually still photography, not necessarily any kind of moving subject. And you should be able to get some really good big size prints. If you're trying to print anything from nature, that's going to be the best because that gives you the most amount of resolution. As far as the standard 40 megapixel sensor, that's going to be something that you can use with pixel binning. 10 megapixels is the standard recommended one, and that is a by 4:3 aspect ratio. Other than that, if we go back into the actual settings, we'll go back here, and we have a very similar image recognition software here to be able to do translation, QR code, and of course other detection for shopping that's built in here as we've seen them before. Under video, by default, it jumps into the wide angle lens. It doesn't actually jump into the standard one. And then you're able to go in directly into the one time and configure it. 4K at the 60 frames per second is supported here. You can see right there, frame rate 60, 4K with the Kirin 990. And here's the brand new feature that I'm very excited about this, is that even when we switch over to the front facing camera, we still have the ability to go in wide and of course the standard focus, but we also have the ability of going to 4K. Now it's limited to 30 frames per second, but we're finally using the full potential of that 32 megapixel front-facing camera and actually be able to shoot 4K video. So we'll go ahead and do a quick sample of 4K downscale to 1080p on both the front-facing sensor and the back-facing sensor from the brand new Honor V30 Pro. So we're going to start off by using the front-facing cameras on the brand new V30 Pro. The camera is capable of recording 4K up to 30 frames per second. This should be a good audio example using, again, the front-facing cameras handheld. Now, the beauty of this is that we don't actually have to just use the standard focal length, which is actually pretty tight and it doesn't really show everything behind me. We can actually switch over to the wide angle lens. And the beauty of it is that we can actually do this in the middle of the same video without necessarily having to stop and start up again. So 4K 30 frames per second on the main sensor, on the front facing, basically the cameras that we have on the front here with the V30 Pro. Let's go ahead and switch over to the back facing sensors. We're going to start off with the main sensor on the V30 Pro. This is going to give us 4K 60 frames per second supported by the Kirin 990. tiny. And of course, the same way we had it with the front-facing cameras, we can actually switch over to the wide-angle lens. Keep in mind though that whenever you turn on video on the V30 Pro, you're automatically going to be using the wide-angle lens. So by default, you're always going to get the most out of it. And as you can see, this will always be the best performer because you're able to fit so much more. And of course, in this situation, most of the time, you're going to be behind the camera. So you're always going to be able to see exactly what's going on. Last thing I want to share with you guys is a quick audio sample playing some music. This is Jumbo by Alex Scrindo, and of course, a no copyright release. Just again, volume is at 100%, and we basically just have everything set correctly. Let's go ahead and play.
Jack it up.
Definitely sounds really good. Again, I would have wished, or I would have hoped that they would include stereo speakers. But again, with the fact that we have a few new features on this device that are very, very nice, namely the fact that we have wireless charging and reverse wireless charging built into this device. We also have 4K on the front-facing camera for both video with the wide-angle lens as well as the standard focal length. So those are a couple of new features that are very, very nice. And the last thing I want to share with you guys is dark mode is supported here. Again, it is part of Android 10.0. This is a 5G enabled version of this device, although will not work with 5G capable signals in the US. At best, we're able to get HSPA+, even though the phone does actually say 4G. But as I showed you guys with the speed test, I'm able to get actually pretty decent speeds. At the most, I'm able to get about 30 megabits down with 43 megabits up. So connections, not a problem. Getting Google Play services on this device should not be an issue. The same way most videos show how to do it on the Mate 30 Pro, very easy. I do have to say that not every application will work, so Netflix is not going to work here. YouTube does, Prime Video does, Hulu will install, PUBG, most of the games will work normally, but certain applications are actually restricted to function on phones that are made for Chinese markets, so just keep that in mind. My initial impressions of the brand new V30 Pro are actually quite positive. The device actually has a lot of good features built into this. Fast charging of that 4100 milliamp battery that's built in here with both wireless and wired connection, and we have basically the wired option included in the box. They also include a case for you in the box, as well as it seems like if you do buy this in the Chinese market, they also include a gift card for 200 yuan to be able to actually get some freebies directly from the actual app gallery. The fact that we actually have a wide-angle lens on the front-facing camera with the ability of recording 4K with the front-facing camera, for me is a big game changer for basically the V series of what Honor has brought us in the past. Because again, the V series has always been the strongest device that they always release, the best specs, basically they take out all the stops and they release the V series as basically their flagship horsepower, basically just the best phone you can get from them. I'm hoping that we'll see an international release hopefully in the near future, as well as the fact that once the Google Play services situation gets resolved, that actually ends up being an option they can just sideload with an update and everything will work the way we expected it in the past. This version is the Chinese model, so just keep in mind some of the restrictions on the applications that I was able to basically not install, was not able to install, was the fact of that location. The other thing also is you cannot change the launcher on this one because this is the Chinese version. I'm expecting if there is an international model that does get released later on, you will be able to change the launcher on that, as that's what happened with the Mate 30 Pro from Huawei. I think the international model does allow change of the launcher, even though there is no Google Play services, it still actually is an option. So keep that in mind if you decide to pick this up. But for now, this is my initial impressions. Hope you guys liked this video. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.